Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I'd like to talk about why the majority of feminists are losers. That's right, losers. By the way, I'm talking about female feminists, not male feminists. Male feminists are just misguided simps who think going femme will get them some pussy. Of course, some of them are losers too, but for different reasons. For the most part, being a male feminist just makes you pathetic and self-hating. As for my saying feminists are all losers, well, you might be tempted to say, but MGTOW philosopher, there are many, many rich and successful women who are also feminists, therefore they're not all losers. Do you deny that? Well, yes and no. Yes, most of them are losers, but for different reasons than you might think. You see, the world has changed, and the way we judge whether or not women are losers or winners has also changed to some extent. You see, women, they claim to be equal to men. They claim to be just as able, just as strong, and just as independent. Therefore, if they can't stand on their own 2 feet without a man, they are losers. And by the way, this is the feminist definition, a definition that makes all traditional women of the past losers, as they weren't equal to men, and all those women of the past, they chose to put themselves into indentured servitude to men. Hence, any traditional woman, be it past or present, is a loser by feminism's own standards. And this is despite how much she may or may not do around the house to earn her keep, which these days is little to none. So, which women of today who are feminists and not housewives are losers? Well, let's start with women who can take care of themselves, but don't, and instead let a man pay for most, if not all, of the bills. You see, this type of woman, she's also a loser. That's right, she's a loser. Why? Because she's not practicing what she preaches. You see, women of today preach about equality and how they're just as strong and able as a man, yet they more often than not do little, if anything, to contribute to the household they exist within. Now, I as a man, I would never let some woman pay all the bills for me. Of course, I'd never be stupid enough to live with a woman in the first place, but if I did, there's no way she'd pay for me. I would insist on paying my half. Simple. That women don't do that, while at the same time claiming to be equal to any man, is just absurd and makes them losers. And that's by feminists' own standards. And of course, then you have women who game the system and who use the vast majority of welfare services. Did you know that something like 85% of all welfare goes to women? That's right, 85%. That's absolutely nuts, isn't it? Now, seeing as all women are feminists to one degree or another, and 85% of all welfare is used by women, well, that makes most feminists losers. Yes, losers. Because women make a point of saying how they don't need a man. They need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. They're independent. They don't need anyone. Yet there they are, taking from the system, a system funded for the most part by men who they claim not to need. So, they lie to themselves, and they lie to the rest of us, all the while taking governmental aid because they can't stand on their own 2 feet, and all the while they claim that they can. Talk about deluded, delusional losers. By the way, have you noticed how hard it is for men to think of women as losers? Try it sometime. Try it right now. Call a woman a loser in your mind and see how alien it feels. Just as with anger and hate, we've been conditioned to view women as somehow separate and apart and not subject to the same rules and regulations as men. Yet we're constantly told that they're equal to us, meaning that they wanted to be treated the same way. Yet, when was the last time you personally called or saw a woman as a loser? Ever? Then you have women who benefit just by being women, which, by the way, is all women. For you see, they all get special treatment because of affirmative action programs that allow women to get a job, even if they're not the most qualified candidate. They benefit from employers who fear being sued by feminist lawyers if they don't employ a certain number of women. And they all benefit from organized feminism having peopled the human resources departments of most companies with women, who will in turn hire mostly women. All these things sound a lot like cheating to me. You know, if you can only get ahead by cheating, how are you a winner exactly, and not a loser? If you stack the deck in your favor, win, and then brag about what a good player you are, isn't that more than a little disingenuous, not to mention dishonest? Especially if you actually believe that you won fair and square. I mean, how are you a winner under such circumstances? How are you strong and independent and able to stand on your own 2 feet when you can't compete fairly with everyone else? Of course, the answer is simple. You're no winner. You're a loser. And you're an automatic loser no matter how much of a winner you think you are. When you exist in a system where you have the deck automatically stacked in your favor and you have no need to compete honestly. You're nothing more than a de facto cheater and a de facto loser from day one. You know, women are interesting creatures. They constantly say how tough, strong, and equal to a man they are, yet they have all these programs that give them an unfair advantage. Then they claim they need the advantage because, men exist. Of course, what they claim is that men somehow own the system and actively work to keep them out, so they need laws on the books to ensure that they get equal access, meaning equal opportunity. Of course, there's no evidence whatsoever of this supposed conspiracy to keep women out. And the people who control the so-called system, well, those will be whoever votes for the politicians, which is women. It's women who run the system, not men. Hence, if women only wanted equal opportunity, well, they wouldn't be lobbying for 50-50 representation in the workplace as well as in the government. Because that's not equality of opportunity. That's equality of outcome. Which essentially means that even if you're a loser, you can still get a place at the table because, vagina. Not because of merit. Of course, this all goes back to the argument that men and women are equal. Yes, men and women are equal in all ways, don't you know? So there's no reason for why there shouldn't be equal representation in all fields. Except for hard jobs like garbage collecting and sewer cleaning, of course. Men can keep those jobs. We women, we don't want or need those jobs. No. Those jobs are too hard. And the fact that we can't do that job, well, we can't hide that so easily. However, with paper shuffling, you can easily hide the fact that they can't do the job nearly as well as a man simply by having a man pick up the slack. In turn, she looks busy, so hey, illusion achieved. And again, women don't want to be crawling around in sewers or tossing garbage bags around all day. Nope. But wait, I thought men and women were equal and had equal abilities and equal wants. Anyhow, it's this belief that men and women are equal in all ways that has led women to try and create equal outcome. A belief which ignores the fact that men and women are actually different and have different aptitudes and preferences. By the way, women don't argue these facts when it comes to jobs that are dominated by women. It's just that the jobs men gravitate towards tend to create more capital or are more dangerous in some cases, so they usually pay more. That's all. And women want that big money, don't you know? Yes, we all know how women feel about money. Hence, when it comes to getting that high-paying, physically easy job, oh, well, we're all the same. There's no differences between the genders. And women, in turn, should have full and equal access to the jobs men gravitate towards. Of course, that's when the job pays a lot of money and is relatively easy and won't mess up their nails. I wholeheartedly believe that a lot of what feminism is about is nothing more than women wanting to make as much or more money than men. That's it. If being a housewife paid 6 figures, I think many a feminist view of housewives would rapidly change. And that makes them losers. Aspiring to and taking jobs they can't do nearly as well as another applicant, meaning men, but they take it anyway to receive unearned wealth, which is more or less like stealing. And while many of them might be getting paid well, they're still losers, as they've accomplished nothing on their own 2 feet. Not to mention the fact that they're in no way true to their own ideals as feminists. Ideals which, by the way, are a sham. That's right, feminism is nothing more than a sham designed to get women into jobs they don't deserve to have so they can make money that they, in large, didn't earn, as they are far less productive than a man would be in the same position. From lowly beggar women who have no skills and are crap at everything thanks to feminism giving them a sense of entitlement, to Fortune 500 company female CEOs whose companies drop and continue to drop in the rankings for as long as they are in their positions. Women have become the biggest losers in the world. Losers who are unable to stand on their own 2 feet and then crow about how great they are. However, not being able to stand on their own 2 feet is not what makes them losers, because they've never been able to do that. No. What makes them losers is the fact that they claim to be able to play the game just as well as a man. Yet when they finally get a chance to play, they end up cheating and then claiming they had to cheat because all the judges are men and the male judges would have given the game to the boys, even if they had won fairly. Okay. But doesn't that undermine your entire cause, ladies? I mean, aren't you essentially proving your cause a lie by cheating instead of proving that you can do it on your own? And all for the sake of making money? I mean, what happened to feminism's high-minded ideals of equality and being equal to a man? Whatever happened to making it on your own? And of course, in the end, that's what it's all about, really. Money, privilege, advantage, having these things handed to you on a silver platter, living in fantasy land. A fantasy land where you get to be delusional and tell yourself that you're a winner, even though you've never honestly won a goddamn thing in your whole life. But that's okay, because men used to run things, and those evil bastards used to keep us ladies down. Even though, for the most part, those men, they competed fairly with each other, and the best man won. And by the way, that's a game you ladies claim to want to play. But you cheat, saying you must cheat because men would hold you down if you didn't. And because in the past, men had a monopoly, so now it's your turn. Ah, yes, the old 2 wrongs make a right argument. However, isn't it supposed to be 2 wrongs don't make a right? Ah, well, I forget. It's so hard to keep track of all the contradictions in feminist dogma. Yes, you have to do bad things because of us men. It isn't because of you. Oh, no. You're not responsible for your own actions. We men are responsible for your actions. Yes, you don't have to prove that you can stand on your own 2 feet. You don't have to prove that you can do exactly what we can do. And if you can't, just tie men's legs together so that we're forced to hop around while you double time it up the ladder of corporate success. Because in the end, if you could compete with us fairly, you would. If you could make it in the world without having to rig the game, you would. If you were able to perform the same duties with the same level of quality as men, you would. It's really that simple. And you wouldn't need affirmative action programs to ensure that you get a chance to do so. No such things would be required because everyone would see your value and they would want to hire you. And no one would be forced to do so through fear and intimidation. Employers want to hire the people who will make them the most money. And they don't care about their gender. They only care about dollar signs. And don't give me this crap about how women need these programs to give them the chance to show what they can do. Women have had thousands of years, and there have been plenty of men along the way who gave women chances, and we men saw the results. And in the recent past, plenty of employers gave women chances, and women fared poorly, which is why you women had to lobby to get unfair laws enacted in the first place, and why those laws are still on the books today, and if anything, are more stringently followed and enforced than they were when women didn't have such a large representation in the workforce. Because employers have seen full well what women are capable of, and if given the chance, they'd hire less women if they could, not more, because women cannot play the game with men and must cheat. And if they didn't need to cheat, they wouldn't be cheating. And in today's fair-minded, enlightened world, don't tell me that if the game wasn't fixed to allow women to succeed, that the judges would simply rule the women the losers of the game, even if they won, just because of so-called sexism. There would be such an outcry from the crowd of onlookers, as well as from the opposing team, that such a thing just wouldn't be possible. And by the way, no judges would do such a thing in the first place. Most people these days are very enlightened and fair-minded, especially compared to even 150 years ago. And if you win, you win. Fair and square. No question. No one is seeking to hold women back. The playing field has never been more open to women being able to show what they can do. Which is, of course, why, more than ever, you ladies need those laws that allow you to cheat. Because women, they can't succeed on their own. And because they cheat and continue to cheat and go against the very teachings of feminism by failing to stand on their own 2 feet, well, that's why they are essentially losers. Plain and simple. So, ladies, the next time you want to talk about how independent you are, how powerful you are, how strong you are, don't. You're not powerful, you're not strong, and you're certainly not independent. Because powerful, strong, independent people prove themselves and stand on their own 2 feet. They don't bitch and moan about how the system is rigged against them and then change the system to allow them to succeed at the expense of everyone else, just so they can get ahead. If you're strong and powerful, prove it. If the system seems unfair, because it's really set up to find the best person for the job, which is more likely than not to be a man, then make yourselves better. Work harder, become smarter, and actually work twice as hard as a man, which, by the way, you've never done and never will do. Put in the time, put in the hours, and make yourself as good as the other applicants who are men. Prove that you can play the game at a man's level. And men, bosses, and everyone will respect you and have no problem giving you a seat at the table, a place on the team. But don't rig the game to allow you to cheat just because you couldn't win otherwise. That's what women have done in the Western world, and that's why most Western women are losers. Because whatever job you have, whatever position you think you've achieved in life, the majority of what you have is at the expense of a man who could have done the job better. Heck, even those jobs dominated by women could probably be done better by a man. It's just that men have less interest in those careers. Because of social constructionism, of course, not because of biology. No, that biology stuff is just a myth. Many of you ladies out there, you can't make it without a man. Many of you ladies out there can't make it without affirmative action. Many of you ladies out there can't make it without a man. Many of you ladies out there live with men, but refuse to pull your own weight financially, and even refuse to do any housework because it's supposedly demeaning to women. And it's all these things, ladies, that make you losers. And not just in my mind, but they also make you losers if we look at feminist dogma. Dogma, which is very clear in saying that all these things are not what feminism is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about being independent, not needing a man, and standing on your own 2 feet. Something you ladies of the Western world should try doing. Yeah, it's too bad you don't follow your own feminist teachings, yet you still call yourself feminists. Many of you ladies out there can't make it without welfare. Many of you ladies out there can't make it without affirmative action. Many of you ladies out there can't make it without a man. Many of you ladies out there live with a man, but refuse to pull your own weight financially, and even refuse to do any housework because it's quote-unquote demeaning to women. All these things make you losers, ladies. Not only in my mind, but they also make you losers if we look at feminist dogma. Dogma, which is very clear in saying that all these things are not what feminism is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about being independent, not needing a man, and standing on your own 2 feet. Something you ladies of the Western world should try doing. Yeah, it's too bad you don't follow your own feminist teachings, yet you still call yourselves feminists. Yeah, you ladies are losers. It's that simple. Face it. You can't compete, so you lobbied the government to rig the game in your favor. It's no wonder that all Western economies are going into the dumper. They're less productive because of so many underqualified and unqualified women in the workforce. Women who got their jobs based on a system that essentially cheated on their behalf to get them those jobs. And add to that the tons of welfare, 85% of which goes to women, and it's no wonder that the West is in decline, both morally and economically. I mean, it's no surprise to me, and all thanks to loser feminists who are not even real feminists by their own teachings. But they really are. And yes, they are all like that. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day.